service through Ortho TV.
I'll mute myself, sir.
Right, sir. Sir, can you hear me and see me, sir? Slide
Yes,
presentation.
yes.
Uh, Good evening, teachers and friends. Today will be lecture come or interaction jada. This is third X-ray class of our joints. So X-rays in orthopedics. Just with a tribute and great gratitude and respect to Sir William Conrad Roentgen, who was professor of physics in Würzburg University, Germany, accidentally discovered X-rays and was awarded first Nobel Prize for Physics in 1901. These discovery helped especially orthopedic specialty, and we were, as usual, the first one to start with use of X-rays in our medical profession. Why? The X-rays penetrate different objects more or less according to their density. Calcium in bones make it denser, so bones absorb more radiation and appear white on X-rays. In medicine, X-rays are used to view images of bones and other structures in the body. November 1895 discovery occurred, 8th November 1895, and exactly 8 months down the line, X-rays were being used by battlefield physicians to locate bullets in the body of wounded soldiers. So radiation shielding garments, as radiation is having hazards, was subsequently recognized, and various garments were started to be looked for protecting ourselves from the bad effects of radiation of X-rays. And various garments, they are used, in use, we can see it here. The principle of the various materials used were the lead and other than lead, antimony, tungsten, bismuth, and tin, because folding was causing the problem in the waste, and pure lead was very heavy. This for the radiation safety purpose. ALARA principle is used in radiology, which is as low as reasonably achievable dose of radiations to reduce the harmful effects on the human body. And this ALARA includes 7 basic points, namely time of exposure to be reduced, distance from the exposure, shielding with various PPEs, at personal level, good hygiene, control of contamination, airborne hazards, and specific use of some protective devices. Normally, when 0.5 millimeter of this lead containing jacket we use, it attenuates 98 to 99.5% radiation dose and protects us. But when this is used 0.25 millimeter, it goes down to 96% protection. For thyroid, it should be minimum 0.5 millimeter thickness lead. So now, to be very precise, X-rays in orthopedics. Any DNB or MS candidate cannot pass or cannot practice without properly reading the X-rays. Various radiological modalities are there. X-rays, ultrasound, CT, MRI, nuclear imaging, PET scan, and CT or MRI angiography. But our focus will be, for our examination purpose, plain radiographs. So as an orthopedic surgeons, we cannot function actually without radiographs. We work at times as radiographers and interpreters. As radiologists have shifted their focus from plain radiographs to CT scan, MRI, PET scan, ultrasound, which are more challenging for them and of course more livelihood earning too. So conventional plain radiographs are preferred or more expensive imaging modalities like we orthopedic surgeons in a current financially driven healthcare environment in India. Also worldwide, radiographs for orthopedic injuries takes the precedence for other investigations as a basic investigation in traumatic or otherwise orthopedic condition. So radiographic examination but natural important dimension of our care and needs to be performed well to avoid false negatives which may affect patient's diagnosis and subsequently the care. To avoid missing the diagnosis, we must know which study to be asked for and whether that view or that radiograph is correctly taken. And for this, rule of two is very important. And in nutshell, just remember VJTIS means two views, two joints, two times, two injuries, and two sides. The self-explanatory radiograph एक तरफ देखने से कुछ और पता चल सकता है. Hari Krishna, kindly unmute. Lateral view will be something else. So 3D CT scan importance we will recognize with this also. But for basic radiography, both the views, orthogonal views are important. Jain sir, please unmute everyone, sir. So why two views? See, this patient was operated 1.5 years back in Mumbai in one of the medical institution, and by seeing this one view, we could have
Gopal 1 minute. Mahale sir, you have to mute yourself, sir. Gopal, you may continue.
Right, sir. Thank you, sir. Am I audible, sir? Sir, am I audible?
Yes, Gopal, you are audible. Audible.
Right.
Gopal, you can continue.
Right, sir. So two views. This is the example. If one view we will go, we may conserve. If we will say another view, we will definitely go for surgery. Two joints. If we will see only this, we will think of some nailing or plating. But if we will go for both upper and lower, means nearby two joints, we may have acetabulum fracture. Also, we may have patella fracture, like this case. So telltale signs and radiographs, two joints, two times, before and after close reduction, before and after surgery, whether implant is placed correctly, screw is not in the fracture site. So day one failure, post surgery, we can recognize and correct in time. And when conservatively managed, again, it is not at least two times, but you may have to go sequential radiographs up to 2 to 3 weeks, so that swelling reduction and loosened cast may cause displacement. So watchful supervision, again, rule of two, we must remember. Like in this case, in acute condition, surgeon felt it is undisplaced fracture, but when patient comes, the lateral condyle flake, which was displaced when followed after 3 to 4 weeks. So stitching time saves 9. So take at regular intervals at least 2, rule of 2. So when patient, like what we see in armed forces, when you land while doing the para jump, and if you get calcaneum fracture, but natural, then impact of the body goes, patient, once there is a severe pain at the time of landing, he will fall on a spine, and there will be spine injury or some injury in the hip. So two places again is important. Then two sides in children, in immature skeleton, we may not appreciate certain injuries. We may consider it as a normal ossification process, and but when we take the X-ray of opposite side, this subtle torus fracture, we can make it out. So friends, rule of two, you must not forget in your exam, and definitely most of the examiners will ask you which views, how many times. So this rule of two is very important. So how to read the X-rays now? Plain radiographs remain single most important investigations require systematic, step-by-step, meticulous observation for reading the X-rays. When you hold X-ray on view box in anatomical position and read it either from soft tissues, bones, joints, or other way around, will give you systematic approach and you will rarely miss the findings. Alternatively, you can see adequacy of exposure, alignment, bone problem, cartilage problem, certain discs or menisci issues, and then the surrounding soft tissues. So either ABCD approach or
Gopal sir, the
Yes,
slide is not moving.
it is moving for me, sir.
So we are not able to see that. That is stuck at the fracture lower one-third femur to use.
Sir, sorry, I will again, I will again, again I will share the screen, sir. Sorry. I think that disturb caused the problem to all of us. Can you see now, sir?
Yes,
Yeah,
it is there, Gopal, now. Please go
Okay,
ahead.
okay, sir. Now quickly, I will go through it, sir. Quickly. I'm
Kalodia sir,
sorry.
please mute sir.
सॉरी
Okay.
मेरा ये चला
Now,
गया था.
no, sorry,
yes,
sir.
sir.
Sorry
yes,
for
sir.
whatever has happened. Now I will
now-
quickly
now-
complete the same. One
problem.
view,
Please.
another view, displaced fracture, go for fixation. Your decision from conservative to operative changed. Then two joints, nearby joints. If I will always go for nearby joints, come full X-rays, and then we will find. Actually, I should have included knee joint also because possibility of patella fracture there along with this acetabulum. So always two joints, nearby joints. Again, whatever I have explained, these are the self-explanatory. This is undisplaced fracture at the end of 2 to 3 weeks, displaced because once swelling goes down, after acute initial 4-5 days, then loosened cast affects, causes the displacement of fracture. This is Shagutabasum. Please don't disturb us. These two sides, when there is impact at particular one body part or bone, like we commonly see in armed forces during parajumps, there is a calcaneum fracture. Immediately, due to severe pain, soldier lands on the spine related area and impact goes to the spine. So always think of when one particular mechanism of injury is there, we should think of other sort of injury. Jain sir, I'm making you host, so you please take care of this nuisance, sir.
Okay.
So two sides now. In children, certain subtle injuries we may neglect or we may escape these abnormal findings, considering this being the ossification process area. So take view of another side and you will not miss. So now why X-ray is important? Because you are as an orthopedician, we are supposed to, as I have already explained to you, read the X-rays properly, order the examination of that particular part, whatever is required, following rule of 2. So wherever injury, include the proximal and distal joint, take 2 orthogonal views, take at 2 incidences, take at 2 different sites if indicated. In premature skeleton, take opposite normal side also, but never try to escape or try and get the correct diagnosis. So how to read the X-rays? Systematic, step-by-step, meticulous observation of reading X-rays by holding the X-ray in anatomical position on view box, either reading from soft tissue to bone, joint and cartilage or other way around, will help you in proper reading of the X-rays, and you will hardly miss the any important positive finding. Alternatively, exposure, alignment, bone, cartilage, disc and soft tissue in a sequence, you can see in the examination and you will rarely miss. Now friends, in your exam, mostly bone tumor related, we are having too much confusion. So I will try, I will complete my class maximum up to the bone tumor part, and whenever I feel your role is there, kindly unmute yourself and go ahead with discussion. So focal bony lesion evaluation, 10 points. These 10 commandments you must remember. So age of the patient, I will subsequently tell you why important. Site or location. Site means site in the bone itself, whether epiphyseal, metaphyseal, diaphyseal, or central, peripheral, or epiphyseal. Number, single or multiple. Pattern of bone destruction, that is geographic, permeative, or moth-eaten. Margins, they are clear margins or not very clear margins. Cortical reaction, no reaction, or with sclerotic, or some sort of bone growth reaction. Type of mineralization, periosteal reaction, whether it is there or if it is not there, then soft tissue reactions. And there are few conditions where you should not go for biopsy, like touch me not lesions. So if you think these 10 points in reading any sort of bone tumor or related condition, we will hardly miss this diagnosis part. So to decide whether lesion is benign or malignant, 5 important features. See whether it is slowly or rapidly growing, whether it is narrow or wide zone of transition, whether cortex is intact or destructed, whether periosteal reaction is interrupted, solid or no periosteal reaction, soft tissue component, where it is, whether it is there or not there. And to decide further which type of mineralization, chondroid, osteoid, or mixed type, will give you further hint. Also don't forget age, before 30 or after 30 years age. Bone affected, whether long bones or flat or short bones. Location within the bone, peripheral, central, or epiphyseal zone. Now, first point I will quickly finish. Self-explanatory slide. All exam going students, they must be understanding this. So, second and first 2 decades, mainly simple bone cyst, aneurysmal bone cyst, fibrous cortical defect, benign part you must remember. Metastatic, first decade, in less than 2 years, metastatic neuroblastoma, not so common, but you should always remember that. Now, most commonly malignant part, we should not do any mistake, is Ewing sarcoma and osteogenic sarcoma. Ewing's first 2 decades, osteosarcoma usually second decade. Giant cell tumor, age is specific, 20 to 40 years age, female preponderance. Only 2 tumors with female preponderance, giant cell tumor and parosteal osteogenic osteosarcoma. So other than this, all the tumors, majority of the tumors, they are having male preponderance. So chondrosarcoma, 4th and 5th decade, rest all malignant tumors except Ewing's osteogenic sarcoma, especially cartilage origin tumors and multiple myeloma and lymphoma and METs, they are in the 5th decade or above. So age is important. Now see the location in long bones and location in vertebrae. Just keep your eye. Central part of the vertebra, any malignant lesion, most commonly malignant tumors. Yes, the most common benign hemangiomas, they are especially the accidental findings or incidental finding, I will say. Eosinophilic granuloma, age will be important in this case, but in posterior elements, most commonly we will see osteoid osteoma, osteoblastoma, and aneurysmal bone cyst. Never forget METs and osteochondroma. In long bones, important is the slides are important now. I will go a bit slow. In exam going students, 3 important things in epiphyseal zone: giant cell tumor, chondroblastoma, and also infection. Never remember these 3. So epiphyseal region, 3 things: giant cell tumor, chondroblastoma, GCT, and chondroblastoma. These pictures, radiological subsequent pictures, will be definitely your concept clearing. Remember, and you will not forget. In metaphyseal region, majority, except this osteochondro, osteosarcoma, chondrosarcoma, fibrosarcoma, but majority in other than first 2 decades, you will find ABC, means aneurysmal bone cyst, simple bone cyst, chondromyxoid fibroma, fibrous cortical defect, and osteoid osteoma. Diaphyseal, this Ewing sarcoma, adamantinoma, enchondroma, and never forget chronic osteomyelitis in diaphyseal tumors. Also fibrous dysplasia. Now, location within the bone, long bone. So central lesions, enchondroma, simple bone cyst. Remember this. Eccentric one, giant cell tumor, non-ossified fibroma, fibrous cortical defect. Subsequent slides will add to this little more. So third one added is simple bone cyst, enchondroma, and fibrous dysplasia. Third one. These are the central. So 3 epiphyseal tumors, 2 tumors, chondroblastoma and giant cell tumor. Infection will be in any part of the bone. Again, centrally located tumors, simple bone cyst, enchondroma, fibrous dysplasia. So central 3, epiphyseal 3 conditions. Now, majority of other conditions, they will be eccentric, cortical type. So GCT, fibrous cortical defect, non-ossifying fibroma, ABC, chondromyxoid fibroma. Now watch this carefully. This is diaphyseal, metaphyseal, epiphyseal zone in adult bone. Diagrammatic picture, epiphyseal, chondroblastoma, infection. Third will be giant cell tumor. It will come after some other sequence. Metaphyseal zone, aneurysmal bone cyst, simple bone cyst, osteochondroma. As I have already told you, first 2 decades. Then osteosarcoma, second decade. Enchondroma or chondrosarcoma, osteoid osteoma. See the location change now. Eosinophilic granuloma, diaphyseal tumor. So this circle is metaphyseal zone. I am repeating this because this needs to understood. Immature skeleton, again revision. Purposefully kept these repeated slides. Chondroblastoma, giant cell tumor. I will think of epiphyseal. Osteochondroma, osteosarcoma, enchondroma, chondrosarcoma, central one, simple bone cyst. Then fibroxanthoma, fibrous cortical defect or NOF. Fibrous dysplasia, osteoid osteoma. So location of the lesion, important. Again, repeating slide. 3 things I have told you: central, enchondroma, simple bone cyst, fibrous dysplasia. This should be on tip of your tongue. You tell us the central lesions, tumors, enchondroma, simple bone cyst, and fibrous dysplasia. When you tell common conditions, you will be commonly excelling in the exam. So don't think of some out of the box and rare things. My teacher always taught to me, tell common things, you will be commonly correct and commonly will pass. If you will act smart, means telling rare things, you will be rarely correct and you will rarely pass in the exams. So eccentric, at least commonest things: aneurysmal bone cyst, giant cell tumor, fibrous cortical defect, non-ossifying fibroma, and chondromyxoid fibroma. Cortical one, osteoid osteoma, fibrous cortical defect. Parosteal, osteogenic sarcoma, and osteochondroma. At least remember 2 3 conditions, and that will be good for you in telling the differentials in the exam. Third commandment or third important point in X-ray reading in tumors: number and multiple lesions. Lesions known to occur as multiple. Benign tumors may fibrous dysplasia, multiple enchondromasis like diaphyseal achalasia, Oleus disease like also called multiple enchondromas, Maffucci syndrome, and hemophilic pseudo tumors. So benign tumors can also be in multiple number, and we all know multiple myeloma, lymphoma, and METs, they are multiple. So whenever there is number of lesion is in multiple numbers, think of this chart. So 3 malignant tumors to remember: most commonly multiple myeloma, then lymphoma, and then metastasis. Of course, you will consider the age of the patient, and it will be most of the times reaching to the diagnosis. So pattern of bone distraction, very important. Fourth thing, geographical, means continued means that specific geographical area of that bone is affected. moth-eaten, and permeative. So I will clear this terminology little while. So this geographical is specific zone is completely destroyed. And again, A, B, and C is the classification depending upon the margin. So geographical lesion, well-defined margin with sclerosis, 1A. When this sclerosis is absent, 1B. And when it is ill-defined, it is 1C. So sclerosis, no sclerosis with clear border, to ill-defined. You are moving from malignant, probably malignant transforming to malignant tumors. So here we can see the intraosseous lipoma or like simple bone cyst and fibrous dysplasia. They are type 1A, that is geographical lesion with sclerotic rim. Now 1B, this sclerotic rim is missing if you can see the cursor. So well-defined geographic lytic lesion without sclerotic rim, but there is end osteal scalloping. आइसक्रीम से जैसे हम वो आइसक्रीम के यहाँ से वो स्कूप से निकालते हैं, जो भी अपीयरेंस आता है वो स्कैलोप, खरोंचिलिया टाइप, that end osteal scalloping we can see in myeloma also. And differentials we should always remember as giant cell tumor, even aneurysmal bone cyst. So ill-defined lytic lesion, 1C, means all sorts of osteogenic, cartilage forming fibrous tissue material or cartilage material, tumors transforming into cancerous condition. Now remember this moth-eaten business. This is moth. A normal leaf due to eating is become having this appearance is called as moth-eaten appearance. Self-explanatory pictures on your screen. So areas of destruction with ragged borders implies more rapid growth, probable malignancy. So multiple 2 to 5 millimeter size, confluent, lytic lesions with wide zone of transition, indistinct endosteal scalloping, differential osteosarcoma, chondrosarcoma, fibrosarcoma, Ewing sarcoma, but remember chronic osteomyelitis. Whenever diaphyseal lesion, differential, remember chronic osteomyelitis. Moth-eaten appearance along with cancerous conditions, think of chronic osteomyelitis. Moth-eaten appearance. So patterns of permeative appearance, third type, ill-defined multiple wormhole type picture on radiograph, spreads through marrow space, wide zone of transition is there, suggests aggressive lesion and round cell origin. Example, Ewing's sarcoma. So how will you describe? Multiple whole uniform lesions is less than 1 millimeter size, ill-defined, rapidly destructive lesions with exuberant cortical tunneling. Differentials, Ewing sarcoma, reticulum cell sarcoma, leukemia, and METS. Remember, whenever this moth-eaten business and permeative, always, majority, rarely you will find any benign tumor. Permeative appearance, think of differential in malignant tumors. So margins now, fifth important part is margin and rate of so okay,
Yes,
so
that's
yes, sir, there was some disturbance, so I took little time. Benign lesions and malignant lesions. When we consider of margins, sharply defined sclerotic margin, slow growth of rate, narrow zone of transition. These are the classical findings in benign lesions. As against ill-defined margins, fast growing lesion, wide zone or zone of transition, and aggressive appearance will tell you malignant lesion. So same slides, multiple repetitions to hammer in your mind that difference between benign and malignant. Now, whenever anyone will see this cortical response, it is expanded, scallop, eroded, eccentric, expansile, all these things. So cortical lesions, destruction of cortex by lytic or sclerotic process. Endosteal scalloping can also occur. So enchondroma, central or peripheral lesions. So how cortical response we will find? Trabeculations will be there in the lesion in giant cell. Endosteal scalloping in enchondromas. Saucerization time in aggressive lesion like Ewing's sarcoma. So now, seventh important point you should see is a cellular intracellular substance formed by the mesenchymal cells is matrix, and this matrix presents in three different ways. It is either clear, ground glass, or calcified type. This calcified, depending upon the substance of calcification, is again cartilaginous or osseous or mixed one. So whenever it is osteoblast is the cell, will be osteoid formation. Chondroblast is chondroid. Fibroblast, it will form fibrous matrix and collagen. These are the examples now. So clear matrix means lesion which are clear and mostly clear. A radiolucent lesion with few undestroyed trabeculae is considered to have clear matrix. Osseous matrix, interlacing radiodense struts in a laminar fashion. Two types, either myositis ossificans or fluffy amorphous cloud-like density of high-grade lesion in osteosarcoma. Whenever there is ghost cortex intact, think of malignant lesion. Now, how will you differentiate between the two? In the next slide, I will clear it. Patterns of mineralization of osseous matrix would be solid, cloud-like, or ivory-like. Stippled, flocculent, or ring and arc-like in cartilaginous matrix. So enchondroma, chondrosarcoma are examples. So end osteal so matrix mineralization, dense ivory cloud-like calcification in osteosarcoma. We'll see osteoid pattern. Whenever there is chondroid pattern, flocculent, arc-like, and ring-like calcification in sarcomatous change in a diaphyseal achalasia. So periosteal reaction, another important part, but there may be too many slides. I will just run through it, being a revision class. So periosteum, highly vascular, outer fibrous and inner cambium layer. Sharpie's fiber are perpendicularly oriented collagen fibers that attach the periosteum to underlying surface, and that gives the type of reaction. So it can be of two types. Periosteum is elevated by adding new bone, or bone is removed subperiosteally by resorption, as in brown tumors or hyperparathyroidism. So solid, lamellated, spiculated, or with Codman's triangle sort of reaction we will find. And periosteal reaction radiologically will be seen whenever there is biological activity in the lesion is seen. More interrupted or complex pattern, more aggressive is the lesion. So periosteal reaction, again, continuous, spiculated, or interrupted type. Example of this continuous type. I am just running through the slides. Spiculated type, aggressive lesions, hair on end, sunburst, or velvet appearance. So aggressive lesions, Sharpie's fibers are stretched by cellular invasion, and new bone is laid along the forming spicules. That gives the appearance. So divergent, whenever it is parallel, we call it as a hair on end. Whenever it is diverging, we call it as a velvet pattern, the sunburst appearance. Interrupted, again aggressive lesion, periosteum is elevated by tumor, blood, pus, or disrupted by tumor infiltration. Codman triangle formation, buttressing, or truncated type appearance we will see. Codman triangle is seen as two sides of triangle at the demarcated ends of lesion. You can see it here. So buttress, solid reactive bone at the lateral extraosseous margins seen in a relatively slow growing lesions. But truncated lamellae, aggressive tumor or virulent infection, complex periosteal reaction is a combination of all three. So soft tissue now, ninth point is soft tissue extensions. Likely to be malignant like metastasis or sarcomas. Whenever the lesion is extending in the soft tissue area, think of primarily malignant. So exceptions are there. Giant cell tumor and simple bone cysts you have to keep in mind, and that's why all the basic margin, type of lesion, zone of transition, age of the patient, all these factors will help you. So though it is soft tissue extension, primarily think of malignant, but don't forget to rule out giant cell and simple bone cyst. MRI is the best modality to soft tissue distinction. On X-rays, difference between benign and malignant is assessed by evaluating the association between adjacent fat planes. Whenever there is blood fat plane, it suggests infiltration by tumor cells, or it could be infection. Consider aggressive etiology to reach the diagnosis. Displaced fat, whenever you will find the fat plane is displaced, that means likely to be a benign lesion which will be well circumscribed and slow growing, like organized hematoma, abscess, non-infiltrating benign tumors. Soft tissue findings which will help you in differential are, if phlebolith is there, think of hemangioma. Fat density you will find on radiograph, think of lipoma. Amorphous radio density with areas of bone formation, think of myositis ossificans and parosteal osteogenic sarcoma. Punctate clumps of radio density near a joint along the tendon sheath, think of synovial sarcoma. But you have seen here, you are seeing myositis ossification and parosteal osteogenic sarcoma. So important differentiating point, whenever there is myositis ossification, maturation is from periphery to center. Whereas in parosteal osteogenic sarcoma, maturity of the lesion is from center to periphery. So more density in center, think of sarcoma. More density in the periphery, think of myositis. And of course, history, age, and age of the patient, and some bone setters, massage, or some activity will give you hint to rule out this. So not to be touched lesions, like whenever there is fibrous cortical defect, non-ossifying fibroma, periosteal desmoid, solitary fibrous dysplasia, myositis ossificans, intraosseous ganglion, enchondroma, don't take the biopsy. Non-neoplastic condition will healing, fractures, bone infarct, or some bone island, hemophilic pseudotumor, degenerative cyst, brown tumors of hyperparathyroidism. These are the conditions. That's why we are doctors, we are clinicians. History is very important. Clinical examination is still more important. History and clinical examination in orthopedics, fortunately, leads or hints most of the times to you to the diagnosis. And X-ray, though X-ray reading is important, it is supportive. So if all these findings you are very well aware of, and now you are reading the X-rays, I think this slide will give you hint towards the diagnosis, and you will not unnecessarily go for the biopsy. So to summarize, benign bone tumors are well defined with sclerotic borders, geographical type of bone destruction. They may be continuous solid type periosteal reaction and without soft tissue infiltrations, with two exceptions I have already told you. Malignant bone lesions, poorly defined borders, wide zone of transition, moth-eaten or permeative type of destruction. I repeat, moth-eaten or permeative type of destruction, interrupted periosteal reaction with soft tissue infiltration, think of malignant tumors. So now, friends, be ready to unmute yourself, and if you want, you can go ahead. So malignant tumors, osteosarcoma, 75% cases occur in second and third decade of life. Metaphysis is most affected one. Lesion is in the metaphysis. Sunburst type periosteal response, cortical disruption with soft tissue mass formation, can be sclerotic, lytic, or mixed, but host cortex is preserved. Important. So here we go. Any student? You can unmute and tell me. Else, start reading with me. Any X-ray.
This is the plain X-ray of a mature skeleton showing knee joint with distal femur and proximal tibia.
Okay.
With
Where-
periosteal with
Zones. Which area affected?
mature skeleton located in metaphyseal area of distal femur
Very good.
with soft tissue involvement.
Are you sure? Okay, go ahead.
Soft tissue involvement with periosteal.
Which type of lytic blastic?
Blastic lesions, sir.
So,
Well-defined blastic lesions, sir.
you are reading and telling. You should go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Why I spend this 10 points? Go ahead, quickly finish. Okay, thank you. So this is another one. Anybody else? Any other student? A radiograph of distal 2/3 of the femur with some knee portion.
Gopal,
Yes, sir.
Gopal, just 1 minute. There are students are going to appear on 31st.
Yes, sir. But
Like
they are not coming
Avinash is
forward.
there, Yogesh is there, Soumik is there. Of
सर
whom we know.
आप उनका नाम लेके बोलना चालू करिएगा. मैं तो इधर रख ही दूंगा. आप बता दीजिएगा किसी को बोलना है.
Sir, may I speak?
Yeah,
Yes, yes, Avinash, go
very
ahead.
good.
Yes, sir. This is a plain X-ray of a mature skeleton,
Well exposed.
well exposed mature skeleton showing lesion in diaphyseal area.
Avinash,
Uh,
which bone?
Femur.
X-ray
anteroposterior
showing
X-ray of femur showing anteroposterior and lateral view of mature skeleton showing a lesion in diaphyseal area.
Which part? Central, peripheral?
Peripheral area is involved,
Okay.
and lytic lesion is there. Lytic lesion.
Margin.
Margin are ill-defined, narrow zone of
Okay.
wide zone of transition, ill-defined
Okay.
border, cortex out.
Periosteal
Codman's
reaction
triangle
force.
there or not?
Yes, sir. I can see Codman's triangle is there.
So what it implies?
Most probable diagnosis is osteosarcoma.
Okay.
Which type of?
Periosteal osteogenic.
Remember, these are the rarely shown radiographs. Osteogenic, periosteal, parosteal. So these words are important. They are very diagnostic. Okay. So next
Yes,
one.
sir.
Anybody else? Now this is another variety of malignant tumor. सर नाम लीजिएगा अगले स्टूडेंट का.
Yash Parik. Yash, are you there?
Friends, don't be afraid of speaking here. You may be wrong.
Hello.
Okay, Somna. Yash is there?
Yes, sir. Am I audible, sir?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Start describing this.
So this is an anteroposterior view of knee joint showing the distal femur with the proximal tibia with a lytic lesion over the distal femur over the medial aspect with a narrow zone of transition with homogeneous appearance in the the lesion in the metaphyseal region with continuous periosteal reaction with breach with a continuous cortex and with continuous periosteal reaction with no soft tissue extension, sir.
Is it continuous periosteal reaction?
So seems to be
Okay,
the
go ahead. Okay, go ahead.
Codman's triangle again. Codman's triangle, sir. Yeah, seems to be
What
Codman's
is
triangle.
this? Can you see this cursor?
Yes, sir. Cortex is continuous, sir.
That means ghost cortex is there.
Yes, sir.
So is it benign? If ghost cortex is there,
Yes.
is it benign or malignant?
So benign.
पकड़
No,
में आ
sir.
गया, हाँ पकड़ में आ गया इसमें, मैंने स्पेसिफिकली मेंशन किया था. So what is diagnosis?
Sir, this could be osteosarcoma, sir.
हाँ
Challenge.
टाइप, हाँ वो देख के बोल रहा है ना. So remember,
Yes, sir.
these are specific 4-5 different varieties, but they are very typical. Codman's triangle, ये broken area है ना यहाँ पे, continuous दिख रहा है.
Yes.
Ghost cortex is there. So
Yes,
now
sir.
another student.
Yeah, there's
Sir, myself,
Dr.
sir, yes.
Bhutani. There's Dr. Bhutani wants to try Ruby Hall.
Continue. Please go ahead.
Sir, can I?
Yes.
Sir, this is the
Nikhil-
plane.
Nikhil is
Sorry,
trying.
Yes, sir.
अभी वो रेस किया था हैंड, क्या नाम है उसका, भूटानी.
आई थिंक वो हाइबरनेशन में चला गया सर. अगर वो उसको अगला करा देते.
ठीक है.
हाँ चल निखिल स्टार्ट करो.
This is a plain X-ray of mature skeleton of knee joint showing proximal tibia, fibula with distal femur. There is the mixed type of lesion. There is a lytic and blastic lesion or the metaphyseal area with ill-defined margin, with well-defined margin with the sunburst appearance, and there is the no corticomedullary differentiation with the cortex. There is a breach with a narrow zone of transition, and there is a periosteal reaction present with soft tissue involvement with ghost cortex preserved. With my
So-
probable diagnosis is osteosarcoma of distal
Now-
femur.
Why it is not myositis ossificans? Patient gives a history of massage and comes to you. Now similar type of scene is there. So tell
Yes,
me the
sir.
differentiating point I have told you.
Sir, there is in myositis HOMAS, there is the maturation from periphery to center. Here is the maturation from center to peripheral region.
So if you will tell this also point in the exam, that will be extra point. Okay,
Yes, sir.
good.
Very good, very good.
Now chondrosarcoma, second tumor is of cartilage origin, chondroblast, collagenoblasts. They produce cartilage and collagen. Third most common malignant tumor. The most common malignant tumor is osteogenic sarcoma, followed by multiple myeloma, and third one is chondrosarcoma, and which is usually secondary to either enchondroma, osteochondroma, chondromyxoid fibroma, or chondroblastoma, means benign cartilage origin tumors. So chondrosarcoma, central lesion, epicenter is intramedullary. Peripheral means central large osteolytic, end osteal reaction is there. Matrix mineralization is either popcorn type, stippled, nodular, rings and arc-like. So anyone?
Prashant Bhutani. No.
Come.
Soumik.
Sir, I'm audible.
Yes, Prashant, go ahead.
Sir, this is the anterior posterior
X-ray plain radiograph of the pelvis bone, which is showing the iliac bones.
Only pelvis bone.
Iliac bone, femur, some part of femur, femoral head, and lower vertebra and sacroiliac joint.
Okay.
There is
Okay, in one word, what can this be called as?
sir, chondrosarcoma.
Oh, I'm talking of the bony structures that
Anatomic
you
bony
described.
part, sir,
The
is asking.
anatomic part. You'd say
It's the
just one word.
Pelvic outlet, sir.
Pelvis, you can say, that is good enough.
Pelvis. Yes.
So go ahead.
Sir, there is popcorn calcification is seen, and there's a mixed type of reaction, lytic and sclerotic, and which
Okay.
is not going out of the bone, means it is confined to the bone,
Okay.
and there is some cortical erosion is also. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So it is a
Go ahead, you're doing good.
The chondrosarcoma, sir. My probable diagnosis is chondrosarcoma.
differentials. First gaya, huh? Okay, thank you. So
Thank you, sir.
Ewing sarcoma. Ewing sarcoma is most common age is second and third decade. Mimics infection. Always remember, Ewing's sarcoma, diaphyseal zone, mimics infection. Ewing sarcoma, chronic osteomyelitis. These things you should remember. So diaphyseal permeative lesion. Femur, tibia, and fibula commonly affected bones, and onion skin periosteal response. Most common primary malignant bone tumor to metastasize to bone. Primary is in the bone and metastasis to the bone is the most common tumor. Important point for your exam, Ewing's sarcoma. So Ewing's sarcoma, age is second and third decade, onion peel appearance. Primary tumor is in the bone and metastasis can also occur in the bone. And important is differential diagnosis, chronic osteomyelitis. So multiple myeloma, second most common hematological malignancy. Clonal proliferation of plasma cells which produce excessive amount of monoclonal IgG. IgG detected in serum and urine. Fifth decade onwards, males are more male preponderance is there. So infiltrate normal marrow and hampers myelopyosis. Patient is anemic. Infections could be there due to cytopenia. Renal insufficiency is there. Hypercalcemia due to activation of osteoclasts. So demineralization of bones is there. Typical appearance. Everyone, once you will observe this, you will not forget. So most common multiple myeloma. Anybody else? Anybody wants to try this? Any student?
Suman Saurav Mishra, Peerless Institute.
Yes, sir.
Exam going.
Sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So this is a X-ray of a skeletally mature person showing tibia and fibula, mid shaft of the tibia and fibula.
I want to add one point, Mishra ji. You have to say whether this X-ray is a complete X-ray or not. Because it is not showing the whole length of bone, you have to say it is an incomplete X-ray of tibia and fibula.
Okay, sir. So this is an incomplete X-ray of tibia fibula showing mid shaft of the tibia and fibula. There is a permeative lesion, centric in origin, expansile, breaching the cortex. There is also no ill-defined margins. Blastic lesions, blastic type of lesion is there. No matrix is homogeneous. There is also periosteal elevation, which is onion peel type. And this is also soft tissue extension there. My probable diagnosis is Ewing sarcoma, sir.
So
Uh,
central diaphyseal.
Gopal, 1 minute.
Yes, sir, please.
I'll ask Partha sir if he wants to add some comments, because his favorite spot in exam is X-rays. And Gopakumar sir also. They both want to sit on the X-ray table.
Nothing to add, sir. Everything is going on well.
Okay, sir.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you.
So, saucerization. Tumor grows through Haversian system and presents subperiosteally. Marginal scalloping effect on the surface. Periosteal reaction, multilaminar. Onion peel appearance. Codman triangle type. You forgot to tell this friend. Aggressive lesion, recurrent, metastatic. Skip lesions could be there. Anybody else? Anyone wants to try this? No one?
Sir, may I attempt?
Yes, go ahead.
Sir, this is an incomplete X-ray of the.
This is well exposed X-ray of this bone
X-ray
in a
of distal.
skeletally mature or immature, showing these bony parts. And then
Yes, sir,
start.
there is a well exposed X-ray of a skeletally immature bone.
Okay.
No, skeletally mature bone showing distal two-thirds of femur and proximal tibia.
Okay.
It shows a diaphyseal lesion,
Age,
which is
side,
permeative.
number, 10 points.
Sir, X-ray of left side, as it is indicated
Anatomical
in the
lesion, anatomical site.
Yes, sir, I mentioned diaphyseal, and
Yes.
it has a permeative pattern. The periosteal reaction is okay, lamellar type. Okay, sir.
Yes, go ahead.
And there is soft tissue extension as well. There's cortical thickening. Yes, sir. Yes, the metal is normal.
So
it seems like it seems like Ewing sarcoma, sir.
Diaphyseal. So tell me differentials of diaphyseal tumors.
As a
3 to 5
diaphyseal
conditions. At minimum 3 you must tell. If you will tell 5, that is more than sufficient. Differential diagnosis. Diaphyseal tumors. Any student?
Sir, can I?
Yes.
Sir, it could be.
Just tell me DD. Listen question carefully. Differentials in diaphyseal lesions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Sir, cortical fibrous dysplasia.
Okay.
Okay, sir. Mild, no, sir.
Fibrous cortical defect कहाँ होता है? Metaphyseal region में होता है, diaphyseal में होता है?
Metaphyseal होगा, sir. Metaphyseal.
मैं I can mislead you. Okay. Now.
Sir, metaphyseal. Okay.
Okay. Now read this. I have everything I have mentioned.
X-ray of skull showing uniform multiple punch-out line.
No. Okay, X-ray of a skull in mature or immature skeleton with which view? Showing which all parts?
Okay, sir. With a lateral view showing a skull and upper cervical region, showing a uniform size multiple punch out lesion. without sclerotic rim in the skull.
Your diagnosis?
Multiple myeloma in skull.
Okay. So skeletal survey. Now any student can unmute and tell me which all in multiple myeloma skeletal survey you have to do. What all you will include in skeletal survey? Avinash.
Sir, hello, sir. I would
Yes.
like to take a X-ray of spine as well, lateral view,
Which spine?
lumbar spine.
Okay.
Lumbar spine, lateral view. I would like to include in skeletal survey, and
Just tell 1, 2,
I
3,
would
4,
like
5.
lumbar spine, proximal femur, proximal humerus,
That's all.
and
No chest X-ray, no pelvis with both hips.
yes, chest X-ray, yes, pelvis
So
with
just
both
remember, friends, skeletal survey, you must know complete spine, that is cervical, thoracic and lumbar, skull, X-ray, chest and pelvis with both hips, long bones, AP view of proximal part of long bones. Anyone? Everything is there. You have to just fit the diagnosis.
Sir, shall I?
Somnath,
Ye-
yes, Prashant, do.
This is a plain radiograph of the pelvis and both femur. In this X-ray,
Which view?
sir, it is the anterior posterior view, and
Okay. Exposed or not exposed?
sir, this is pelvic bone is exposed, but femur is incomplete in this X-ray. Well exposed X-ray.
Hmm.
In this X-ray, mixed lytic and blastic lesions are seen.
Okay.
Sir, not blastic. There's a lytic lesion is seen with the Moth-Eaton pattern. Yes, sir.
So
Sir, multiple myeloma, my probable diagnosis is.
multiple myeloma. Commonly seen in which bones?
Sir, it is seen in skull. It can be seen in long bones,
Okay.
spine.
Okay. Thank you. So read this now. You only continue. Prashant.
There are other students, we'll give them chance also.
सर आप बताइएगा सर किसको बोलना है?
There's Somnath Ghosh is there, is also exam going. And there is Anup.
Sir, can I go ahead, sir?
Sir, can
Yeah, Kranti Kumar, you can.
Sir, this is an X-ray showing mature skeleton of humerus, proximal part of humerus. And there is ill-defined lytic lesions with the pathological fracture in the diaphyseal region, sir. Without any periosteal reaction or soft tissue involvement.
Periosteal reaction.
Yes, sir, the cortex are thinned out and there is no soft tissue extensions.
So which type of periosteal reaction?
Moth-Eaton.
Okay.
Medulla is moth-Eaton.
So diagnosis?
So
There is a
multiple myeloma,
pathological
sir.
fracture. There is a pathological
Multiple.
fracture. You missed that point.
Sir, can
No, he told that pathology, Gopal, he told that pathological
Sir.
fracture.
Okay, sir. So diagnosis is?
The multiple myeloma with pathological fracture of humerus.
Okay. Any other differentials you can think of?
Sir, can I?
Yes. Okay.
Good. Metastasis is good, DD.
Okay. Now, friends, we will shift now from here to benign bone tumors. So you should remember osteogenic sarcoma, 4-5 varieties of classical, those different types I have shown you. Chondrosarcoma, multiple myeloma. These important malignant tumors. We have seen radiological appearance. Now I will continue for another 10 minutes for these important benign bone tumors. Few are common, half of them, they may not be that commonly seen and kept in the examination. So it starts with bone island, which is usually patient is asymptomatic, oval, densely sclerotic, intramedullary lesion aligned along the long axis of the trabeculae. Most of the times differential is osteoblastic mets. Bone scan will show no increased tracer uptake by inostosis, but other malignant, it will take uptake. So MRI will show hypointense signal in both T1 and T2 weighted images in inostosis. Osteoblastoma, closely related to osteoid osteoma. Site is most commonly in posterior elements of spine, femur, talus. Is a lytic type of geographical lesion. Destructs overlying cortex. Important point is less than 2 centimeter size. So osteoblastoma. Can anyone describe this lesion? Sir, बताइए किसी को बोलना है.
Sir, can I?
Go ahead.
Okay, sir. Sir, it is a lateral view of a cervical spine showing a skull and upper cervical region in a mature skeletal person with a lytic lesion.
Exposure, well exposed है, under exposed है, proper X-ray है, anatomical landmark के लिए वो जरूरी होता है. We should start with this is well exposed radiograph of this region with these bones showing this. You should go ahead like that. Please start again.
Okay, sir. This is under exposed X-ray of lower skull and upper cervical region of lateral view of a lower skull and upper cervical region of a mature skeleton, showing a lytic lesion in posterior arch of first vertebra.
Is it arch?
First vertebra.
Sir, C1.
So is it posterior element or posterior arch or some specific name?
Posterior element, transverse नहीं.
तो कहाँ रहता है? तो भारत में रहता है बोलने जैसा बेटा वो. इंडिया में रहता हूँ.
Sir, posterior arch of the C1.
Still not getting. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, with a geographic lesion with a sclerotic rim. Then there is
very
no
good. Sclerotic rim, geographical lesion with sclerotic rim. Very
no
good.
periosteal reaction.
Without periosteal reaction. Good.
So most probably it is a osteoblastoma.
Okay, diagnosis.
So osteoblastoma.
Osteoblastoma. I have shown you this picture. Osteoblastoma. Size less than 2 centimeter. Okay, good. So location of the lesion is very important. I have already shown you this. So now, what is this? Anyone? Benign bone tumor of membranous bone or hematoma. Most common site, skull, paranasal sinuses, mandible. Usually asymptomatic. This is a CT picture. X-rays will show well circumscribed lesion arising from cortex and protrudes from the surface. Bone and osteoma have same density. Commonly seen in Gardner syndrome, that is osteoma plus colonic condition, polyposis. And this is the picture. Same density. So osteoma.
Gopal, you have to rush.
Okay, right, sir.
We are
Right, sir.
short of time.
Osteoid osteoma. Now, osteoid is a woven bone less than 1.5 centimeter diameter in second and third decade. Pain, tenderness in the lesion, especially in the night. Dramatic relief with analgesic like aspirin within 20 to 30 minutes. Most commonly seen in upper end of femur or tibia, posterior elements of the spine, skull, mandible, and ribs and ischium also show this lesion. So again, AP view of the knee means anterior-posterior view of proximal tibia fibula. In a mature skeleton, diaphyseal lesion, cortical, blastic with well-defined lytic area in the center, that is nidus, and cortical hyperostosis. No periosteal reaction. Characteristic location, age, and X-ray. History will give you pain responsive to NSAIDs or aspirin. So diagnosis of osteoid osteoma. Now, osteochondroma is probably the most common of all primary bone tumors. So sessile or pedunculated type flares out from the bone surface with cortical continuity of their stalk. The medulla of the bone of origin is continuous with medulla of the lesion. You can see it here. And this is often best appreciated on CT scan, that medullary continuity never has any structure attached to this. So continued growth of residual benign rest of cartilage displaced from growth plate, that is in medullary cavity. See here, asymptomatic painless swelling, usually solitary, 40% most commonly seen in metacarpal or metatarsal short long bones. You can see again here. So X-rays will show whole geographical destruction with lobulated contour, end osteal scalloping and ground glass matrix, dystrophic calcification within giving rings and arc appearance, no periosteal reaction and intact cortex. So important point is dystrophic calcification with rings and arc appearance. So it will tell you cartilage origin, and diagnosis is enchondroma. Cartilage origin, second decade of age, 2/3 cases, epiphysis around the knees, proximal femur next common site, well-defined sclerotic margins with intact scallop cortical borders, periostitis of adjacent metaphysis, chondroblastoma. Can anyone read this? Everything is in the slide. This is the important area. Whatever I have explained in previous slide, this is the picture. Epiphyseal and central lesion. So anteroposterior view of the knee in an immature skeleton of epiphyseal location with lytic type of geographical lesion, well defined with non-sclerotic rim. Cortex has no thinning or breach, no periosteal reaction. Chondroblastoma. So 10 to 30 years age, rarely seen, eccentric, metaphyseal, 60% lesions seen in long bones, expansile, radiographically expansile, ovoid lesion with lucent center, long axis of lesion is parallel to the long axis of the host bone, geographic bone destruction with scalloped margins and expanded shell, stippled calcification within tumor in advanced cases, no periosteal reaction, 25% recurrence after curettage. Whatever I explained, this is the picture you can see, and it is chondromyxoid fibroma. Differentials are simple bone cyst, aneurysmal bone cyst, non-ossifying fibroma, fibrous dysplasia, and enchondroma. So first few slides were really important. You have to just tell the few things. Doesn't matter if you will not tell correct diagnosis, but differentiating features and classical radiological appearance, if you will tell, that is more than sufficient in the examination. So read this X-ray now. Everything is there, well exposed. Can anyone attempt this without reading this? Okay, well exposed anteroposterior view of knee showing expansile ovoid lesion, geographical type of lesion with scallop margins with radiolucent center. Long axis of the lesion is parallel to the long axis of the host bone. No periosteal reaction, chondromyxoid fibroma. Now, this focal cortical defect and
Gopal, 1 minute. Exam going students, previous slide.
Okay, sir.
Exam going students, why it is not a GCT?
Sir, site.
Site around the knee joint, GCT.
Sir, it is a metaphyseal lesion and it is
It is epiphyseal-metaphyseal lesion. Epiphysis is just closing. No periosteal reaction.
So maybe endosteal scalloping is more in this, and GCT endosteal scalloping is less.
Skeleton, sir.
Do you see these type of septations?
Ring and arc.
No.
Gopal sir, your comments.
The ring and arc like septation, is it?
Gopa Kumar sir.
Can also be can be considered as a differential diagnosis, but the only thing that is available there appears to be some periosteal reaction in the upper part. I don't know.
Yes, sir, that was.
That is, it will not be seen in the case of a GCT.
GCT.
Thank you, sir. Can I go ahead?
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
So, fibrous cortical defect and non-ossifying fibroma. Now, my speed will increase. Benign fibrous lesion, non-ossifying fibroma is eccentric. Fibrous cortical defect superficially affects the cortex. Superficially affects the cortex around the knee. Histopathological examination will show fibrous tissue, xanthoma cells, and giant cells. X-rays will show well marginated, eccentric, lytic with sclerotic margins. May appear multiloculated due to corrugations. Differences will be bone cyst, aneurysmal bone cyst, fibrous dysplasia, and chondromyxoid fibroma. Can anyone try this?
Can I read it, sir?
Yeah.
Sir, this is an X-ray showing distal tibia and fibula with ankle joints, sir. There is a lesion in the metaphyseal region, metaphyseal-diaphyseal region. It is eccentric. Margins are well defined, sclerotic. The matrix is there's some calcification seen in the matrix, and the cortex is thinned out, sir, without any periosteal reaction and without any soft tissue involvement.
So diagnosis?
As it is involved in the cortex, it may be called fibrous cortical defect.
Very good.
Thank you.
Again, anybody else?
Can I, sir? Hello.
Yes.
Sir, this is a well exposed X-ray of knee joint with showing distal femur and proximal tibia fibula of mature skeleton with lytic lesion in metadiphyseal junction with sclerotic margin with well-defined margin with narrow zone of transition. Without any periosteal reaction, without any soft tissue extension. It is a eccentric and single lesion. Probable diagnosis is non-ossifying fibroma.
Very good. Very good. So fibrous dysplasia, normal bone undergoes physiological resorption, but replaced by abnormal proliferation of isomorphous fibrous tissue of spindle cells and poorly formed bony trabeculae of one bone. They are either single bone affected, multiple bones affected, or affected with some endocrine disorder. So monoostetic fibrous dysplasia. Many questions will be asked when X-ray comes to you, and examiner would like to know from this. So fibrous dysplasia, 3 types: monoostetic, more than 70%, age after 14 years usually; polyostetic, around 11 years, less than 14 years; and polyostetic with endocrine disorder, usually still younger child. So what are the radiological features of fibrous dysplasia? Affected bone is usually expanded. Lesion is well circumcised, lytic or ground glass like in density. In a metaphyseal or metaphysio-diaphyseal location, It may have multiloculated appearance due to endosteal scalloping. It is often surrounded by a thick layer of reactive sclerotic bone called as rind sign. There is no periosteal reaction. There may be bowing or pathological fracture. In a polyostotic form, multiple bones are affected, usually on single side. Polyostotic, usually multiple bones on single side. So fibrous dysplasia. Whatever I explained, try to collect maximum pictures. So monostotic, 14 years is a peak age. No means can occur in any gender. Polyostotic again around 11 years can occur in both the sexes. Then polyostotic with endocrine abnormality, usually at years age, and female preponderance. So involvement, differential point, how will you remember? Involvement of shoulder, pelvic girdle, craniofacial skeleton and vertebra common, affects entire limbs. Severity of deformities increased incidence of spontaneous or recurrent fractures we can see in polyostotic. So in monostotic, fibrous dysplasia, well defined, lucent lesion at diametaphysis, proximal 1/3 femur commonly, loculated, ground glass matrix, that is rind sign is there, endosteal scalloping, thinning of cortex, expansion may be there, maybe with deformity or with fracture. In case of polyostotic, skull, what all findings you can see? Crossing the sutures, widening the diploic space, obliterated sphenoid or frontal sinuses. In orbit, inferolateral displacement, occiput or mandibular cystic lesions, deformity or proptosis or cranial nerve compressions. In pelvis, bubbly cystic lesions, fusiform enlargement, loss of normal trabecular pattern. Anyone? Anybody tries this?
Yes, sir. Can I?
Yes, Soumik.
Yes, sir. Underexposed X-ray of
It is a
left.
well exposed X-ray.
Okay, sir. Well exposed X-ray of a left shoulder with a humerus of a skeletal mature patient, showing a lesion in a epimetadiaphyseal region with thin out cortex.
Now, lesion. You said lesion. You said
Yes,
the
sir.
site. Now tell me the location. Is it the central or eccentric?
Sir,
Central.
central epimetadiaphyseal.
Okay.
Okay,
So
sir.
central means there are few diagnoses now. 3 are the common one.
Okay, sir.
So describe now.
Okay, sir. Is this okay? Center with a wide zone of transition without periosteal reaction.
Don't wait for my next these
Okay, sir.
words. Is it in a wide zone of transition? Type
No,
of
sir,
matrix.
ground glass matrix. Okay, sir. It's in sorry. Narrow. Is it a narrow zone of transition?
What do you mean by narrow zone and what do you mean by wide zone of transition? Anyone?
Narrow wide.
In narrow zone of transition, we can differentiate from the lesion and the normal one, sir.
Okay.
In wide zone of transition, there is no specific demarcation between the lesion and the bone, sir.
Okay. So Soumi, go ahead.
Okay, sir. Without a periosteal reaction, my probable diagnosis is fibrous dysplasia of proximal humerus.
Which type of polyostotic?
So it is
Monostotic. Which type of skeleton is this?
mature skeleton, sir.
Now, anybody else? Any student?
Can I, sir?
Please go ahead.
Sir, this is a well-exposed radiograph showing pelvis with both hip in anteroposterior view, showing a
Positive findings.
Epimetaphyseal lesion in proximal femur. In mature skeleton, a lytic lesion with tuberculation is seen, and cortex is breached. This is geographical lesion, narrow zone of transition.
Don't wait for my words. Continue. That is very important.
No, without periosteal reaction.
Matrix.
Groundless matrix is present.
Okay.
Groundless matrix.
Deformity, type of deformity.
Diagnosis.
Okay.
This is Shepherd-Kuhl deformity. My probable diagnosis is fibrous dysplasia.
Okay. Anybody else now? Everything is there. You have to fit the diagnosis.
Gopal, can you go back to the previous X-ray?
Yes, sir.
Anything else somebody can point out? Have you seen the acetabulum?
So there is a pathological fracture.
No, in the supraacetabular region, can you see some lytic shadow with breakage of the cortex, outer cortex? So you shouldn't miss that also, you know. Don't concentrate only on the femur. You know, this is something which is very obvious. You have the opposite side for comparison. So you must not miss this, you know. If you are able to tell these two findings, I'm sure you will definitely have a better score than anybody else, you know. So don't miss. This is a polyostotic involvement, you know. Okay.
Thank you, sir. May I go ahead, sir? So now anybody, any student tries this. I think we are having short of time. Jain sir, can
Gopal,
I go ahead?
we are having very less time now.
Yes, sir. We have already finished or exhausted our time, but students are not coming forward. So shall I take another 5 to 10 minutes and finish it now?
Okay.
Thank you, sir. So again, see friends, anteroposterior radiograph with both hips, both knees and both femora, mature skeleton, multiple lytic lesions filling entire femur on both sides, geographic type of lesions, well-defined, non-sclerotic rim with ground glass matrix, cortex is thinned out but not breached, no periosteal reaction, both femurs show classic deformity, and diagnosis is polyostotic fibrous dysplasia, that is Shepherd's crook deformity. And friends, what is Shepherd's crook deformity? See the shape of this stick. The Shepherd's crook is a long and steady stick with hook at one end, often point flayed is outward. This flayed point flares outward and is used to control ship. If it is flayed inward, it will hurt the ship. So it is flayed outward. Used by shepherd to manage and sometimes catch the ship. In addition, the crook may aid in defending against the attack by predators on ships. So when traversing through rough terrain, crook can use this as a stick also for his balance. Better pictures of shepherd's crook. And there is one paper, orthopedic paper. Shepherd's crook deformity refers to a distinctive abnormal contour of proximal femur in the setting of fibrous dysplasia. The decreasing neck shaft angle, that is coxa vara, of less than 120 degrees, and the rounded appearance as the bone is deformed resembles that of staff with C-shape end carried by the shepherd. The staff is a rod. So shepherd's crook deformity, coxa vara less than 120 degrees. So fibrous dysplasia, already we have seen these differences. I have already explained.
Yeah, we have done this.
Yes, sir. So I am just going to skip it out. So monoaesthetic, now differential is important. This is important slide. Monoaesthetic fibrous dysplasia, think of non-ossifying fibroma, bone cyst, giant cell tumor, enchondroma, and eosinophilic granuloma. Sir, I will take 8 to 10 minutes. Polyostotic, Paget's disease, neurofibromatosis, hyperparathyroidism, and osteofibrous dysplasia. Non-specific bone tumors, there are 3. So I'm quickly finishing it. And aneurysmal bone cyst. So intraosseous osseous artery venous malformation, honeycomb spaces filled with blood products. It has nothing to do with aneurysm in the vessels. It is a misnomer. So named because of its radiographic appearance, not by histopathological findings of aneurysm. Age is 2nd and 3rd decade in most of the with female preponderance. So it is purely lytic, eccentric, expansile lesion that is sharply demarcated from adjacent normal bone and lacks peripheral sclerosis. The uneven scalloping of endosteum gives trabeculated appearance. The extracortical component has an intact thin subperiosteal reaction of bone cell. On MRI, there are usually fluid field levels due to sedimentation of erythrocytes in the stagnant blood field. So macroscopic specimen will show is a well demarcated from surrounding vein, bogey, hemorrhages, expansile mass, variable size, blood filled cavities present as well as solid areas. So microscopically there will be septa in a blood.
Pathology
field.
would be pathology skip करते हैं.
Right, sir. Okay, sir.
Sir
So
बता देंगे,
radiology.
महालय sir
Thank you.
बता देंगे.
Thank you, sir. Radiologically, it affects the metaphyseal region of long bones, posterior elements in the vertebrae of immature skeleton. Lesion is closely associated with physis. Primary aneurysmal bone cyst is rare in the skeletally mature. So point to remember is, in skeletally mature people, primary aneurysmal bone cyst is rare. So think before telling in the exam. So how will we read? Metaphyseal, eccentric, central diaphyseal in small tubular bone, expansile, rapidly glowing, saccular, lytic, multiple fine septi, sharply bulging scallop borders, honeycomb appearance or soap bubble appearance, blown out appearance or expansile in an immature skeleton. I'll think of aneurysmal bone cyst. So this is another simple bone cyst. So 3% with male preponderance, asymptomatic unless pathological fracture in a metaphyseal zone. Most commonly proximal femur or proximal humerus, pathologically fluid filled cavities with also called as juvenile bone cyst or unicameral bone cyst. This is diagnostic, that is geographical cystic lucency, broad metaphyseal end and narrow diaphyseal end, hence truncated cone appearance. Metaphyseal zone wide and diaphyseal area comparatively narrow, so truncated cone appearance. Pseudoloculated appearance with incomplete septi formation, grows away from the physis. Hinged fragment sign could also be there. So homework, you go back and read the what is hinged fragment sign. Expansion never exceeds the width of physis. Green, these highlighted are the important features. So simple bone cyst. This sign, this marked area is nothing but the fallen leaf sign. So go back and read this again. Same thing. Simple bone cyst. Now 20 to 40 years age, female, eccentric, soap bubble appearance, distal femur or proximal tibia or distal radius or proximal humerus are common sites. So what is important? Eccentric, expansile, epiphyseal, axial crackling on examination, and Sivananda sir's 5th is excision is the treatment of choice. So my diagnosis is giant cell tumor. Again, I am telling you eccentric, expansile, epiphyseal, axial crackling on examination, and treatment treated with excision. 5 is in the 3rd and 4th decade, female patient with radiological soap bubble appearance, and commonly affected bones are distal femur, proximal tibia, distal radius, and proximal humerus. Same picture, same findings, same diagnosis. Again, giant cell tumor. So now this is one immature skeleton, diaphyseal lesion, lytic, central, geographic lesion with well-defined non-sclerotic rim. Cortex is thin. So diagnosis without periosteal reaction is there. Eosinophilic granuloma. Again, specific location. Most commonly seen in this bone. Second most common bone is lower jaw. hint is already given. Mature skeleton, no soft tissue swelling, pandiaphyseal, anterior bowing of the tibia, cortical changes, medullary changes, adamantinoma. So here we end with bone tumor related. This could be, may not be that important to us for exam. Metabolic bone diseases, I think we can skip or leave it to the students. But still, I would like to show you few important findings. This is subperiosteal resorption. Just remember.
Gopal,
Salt and pepper.
Saturday
Yes,
we
sir.
have a case.
Okay,
Saturday
sir.
we have a case of metabolic
sir.
bone
Then-
disease. I
then-
think so we can discuss it that time.
Right. Then may I call off the day, sir?
Kakatkar sir.
I think
is
Gopal,
there.
we can stop here. We can stop here. Metabolic bone disease part. If somebody is presenting, will be theoretical. We can discuss on that day.
Yeah,
Thank
Yeah.
you, sir.
I think we'll. How many more slides are there, Gopal?
Sir, it will take 15 to 20 minutes for me to quickly
Yeah.
finish without any presentation.
पेट्रोल खत्म हो गया है सर गोपाल जी
मेरा नहीं हुआ है,
think,
sir.
if we
सर हमारा
have a
पेट्रोल
case,
खत्म हो गया बंद करो सर we'll call it a day
no, if there is a
we'll add to the next clinical class we'll add
yeah,
it
yeah.
this right,
We'll
right.
add
Sir,
to the clinical class. Sure.
In next metabolic bone disease clinical discussion we can
Sir,
add this
Point well taken, sir. But let the Kakatkar sir complete his words, sir. Sir, please.
Yeah, I think if there is a case of metabolic bone disease, I think we will keep the remaining 15 minutes talk on that particular day on
Right,
Saturday,
sir.
and we'll cover it up so that it will be correlating with the case also, and students can remember it better. You know?
Right, sir.
We have few announcements by Kakatkar sir and few introductions also.
So may I stop
over
sharing
to
the
sir.
screen, sir?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.